and welcome to this episode of Foundation of Our History. And I want to have our first guest introduce herself.
Mary A. Everson. I'm Barnes.
And you were born Mary A. Barnes. What's the A for?
And
And who were you named after anyone?
not that I can recall.
And who were you born to?
I was born to Ruby Lee Jordan and Louis Barnes.
And what's your earliest and or fondest memory of your mom as a child and your father?
I have the memories of my mom. She was there always there with us, but my dad, by the time I grew up, I didn't meet my father until I was about 15.
And where did you grow up?
I was born in Thomasville, Georgia, in my grandmother's house there on Magnolia Street, Thomasville, Georgia, in my aunt's bed. That's where they told me I was born at. By Midway. I was delivered by Midway.
And what school did you go to?
Well, when my mom came and got us from Georgia, I went to school on Martin Street School. I was small.
And what are some fond memories that you have of school?
I remember that when we went to Martin Street School, when we lived over there on Waverly Avenue. I remember they had grades that was like say 2B and 2A, went like that. So I was pretty, smart, whatever.
And when did you move from Georgia to New Jersey?
When I was two. I was two. My mom came. My mom was in New Jersey already, so she came and got me and my two brothers, and we lived over there on Thomas Street in Newark.
So your mom came to Jersey first, and you, your two brothers. Which two brothers?
Was John, we call Sonny, and Louis Barnes Jr., which we call Blondie, and me.
And who did you stay in Thomasville with while your mom was in?
I stayed with my Aunt Leslie and Uncle Buddy. That was my mom's brother and his wife.
And what was childhood like for you in New Jersey? Was there a difference that you noticed growing up? I mean, you were only two, but do you remember anything, a distinct difference between growing up in Georgia and growing up in New Jersey?
Well, two. I vaguely remember when I was two. I just remember certain sounds and everything. I was wondering about. It was like whenever the ambulance come, I'd always hearing the dogs howl and stuff. So we didn't know what was going on. So I remember by my aunt said, "Don't touch the stove," because they had like one of those pot-belly stoves where they put the fire in the stomach of the stove and what have you. And they cooked on top. They had to do something to pull the thing out. So we just thought that was fabulous. Remember that as a 2-year-old. That was strange.
And where were your parents born?
My mom was born in, I believe, Cordia, Georgia, and my dad, I'm not sure.
Do you remember what life was like um, or I guess from your perspective, what was life like for your mom
For
in
my mo-
raising
for my mom,
raising you and your two brothers at the time?
mm, well, when we came, we had another brother. When we came, we had another brother. His name was Michael Jordan. We call him Mike, and it was okay. It was just a little strange, our mother, since I was the only girl, I had like the real wavy hair, and I remember she used to straighten her hair. She used to comb it rough, and I was tender headed, but she said, "Just be still, girl." Go this hair. So,
And what are some things you you learned from your mom?
I learned how to save, and just I remember when she was saying, she said, if you ever get married, she said you make sure you have your bank account. If you have it, you can have a joint account, but make sure you have your own account. So those are one of the things I learned. I learned about how to, to save, how to clean, how to cook. She taught you a lot of stuff. Was cooking when I was 5 years old. She put that wooden crate to the stove and cook.
Wow. Um, and so tell us a little bit about Mary now.
Married now, growing up now, and had a rough, childhood and rough marriage. And after I got out of the marriage, it was pretty good after that. I was working, and I was married to a guy that was, Mr. Everson.
And so when you say you were working, where did you work at? What was your first job? Tell me about your first job.
First job was working. I was like cleaning one of my ex-husband's boss. They had people that lived on the Short Hills, and I would clean, for a lawyer and his wife for a while. And then, after that, I went to school, be a key punch operator. So that's why I did that for several years, and they placed me in school at a job at Mutual Benefit, and that's why I did key punching. And then I graduated from key punching. I went to tape librarian, then a computer operator. Then after that, once that job closed at Mutual Benefit, then I went to school because I was gun plumb, so I went to school for data processing for uh, 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 how to fix computers and what have you. So didn't get a job in that. So I just worked doing an internship at the university hospital for mental patients and stuff. So after that, I went to school again, and then I think I was a tape librarian at Grand Union, and that closed. So then I went to school again, and so then I they would start hiring at the police department. So I worked the police department for 15 years, and that's why I retired from.
And what do you plan on doing, or how are you spending your retirement?
Taking it easy. Got all the years for working, just taking it easy.
And how many children do you have? Who are your children, and how many grandchildren do you have?
I adore 3 daughters. Oldest one, his name is Zelda G. Everson. Now that she's married, she's Elmore. And I have the second daughter, Shalinda Everson. Um, she's a licensed, she's an LPN. And a baby daughter, Artisha, which we call uh, Bambi. And she, that's it. She have 3 boys, and the middle one have 2 boys. So I got 5 grandboys, one great grandson, and one great granddaughter. And the great grandson name is Emil, and the daughter is Amelia, and the middle one, her nickname is Shelly, and the oldest one name is Candy.
Yeah, now you gotta name your grandsons. You can't name your great grands and not great grandsons.
Okay, Bambi's son name is Alquan. He's 21, and he'll be 16 in November. And we have Justin. He'll be 13 in September the 10th. And Taji, the oldest one, he'll be 31. And Ibn, those are Shalinda's sons. Ibn, he'll be 29, I believe. And Ibn's children, which is Emil, he'll turn 7 in December, and Amelia, she just turned 3 months. I loved my grandmother. She was always there, and I know she the one that told me that I was born in that, and my Aunt Johnny Pearl, they said, well, yeah, you was born, because that's where my Johnny Pearl slept. Because she slept, her bed was right there, and the porch was right there. So whenever you be there, she could hear you. So she said, this is where you was born by a midwife in this bed right here.
Wow.
So my grandma, she was always so nice. She always cooked. She was just so nice. She never said anything mean to me that I can remember or anything like that. She was always nice to all of us. And like when I was telling my mom about something, she didn't move. She got it. She zipped up, just like she was a child. She flew in there and did what she was supposed to do.
Right.
She used to always tell scary stories.
Ooh.
She would tell about how Sonny. Mom was like, I think the mom got married when she was 15, and Sonny's father was 30.
What?
Yeah, never know that. And Willamette got married at 13.
Really?
Yes, but I don't know about Aunt Johnny Pearl. But yes, so she was just saying, yeah, hi. She went there, and her father, Sonny's father was, because they moved way out the country.
Right.
Because, what happened. So I found how mom got in touch with her dad, because he was a bruiser, because he would go out with the other women and stuff, and maybe leave her home with Sonny. So I don't know how he was abusing her somehow. So I don't know what she got. So Grandpa, she said, she was telling how grandfather had got the horse and wagon, and went and got her and Sonny. So how she met my dad was, I don't know, he was in a Navy. So she was always like guys, my mother always liked it, men in uniform.
Oh.
Yep, mom liked the uniform. So that's how she got with my dad. But, and his mother, but that's all. Now I know she just said my dad had good teeth. The dentist always wanted to buy his teeth.
Really? They sold teeth back then?
I guess for, I don't know, but that's what she always said. He had the prettiest teeth. That the dentist always wanted to buy his teeth.
Wow.
What have you. So that's most I know about my dad until like I said, when I was 15, he came around. And because we was living in the projects then on Waverly Avenue, and then I think Lonnie didn't want to be bothered with him, so I did, because I wanted to know who he was.
Right.
See, I was 15 and Bonnie had to be 16, so he didn't want to be bothered with him. So he used to, buy us, give us money, buy us clothes, but Bonnie didn't want to be bothered with him. So that's mostly that I know about him. And I just know he had this lady. Whenever he moved his thing, it'd be a white lady.
Oh, really? Yeah, when he moved his muscle?
He had tattoo.
Uh-huh.
I think he had like a ship on his chest and a tattoo of the lady on his arm. I did have pictures. I don't know what happened to those pictures. I think once I left I just left.
Right.
And so I don't really know what happened to him. I just know when he passed, I know he got his money. So by then, Mom had moved out. She had moved out. I think she took. Steve was 2 or 3 or something like, or 5, something like that. I think you were born. No. She moved out. She stayed on Speedway. And then I think Dad was saying somebody, he got at her about something, so she took Steve. And Steve was with Mom. And then I guess she must have met your dad. And that's when they moved on South Tennessee.
I know you're a Jehovah's Witness now. We give thanks and praises to Jehovah for being here. How old are you now, man? I know you're 68. God bless you. I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad we're all here together. Tell each other we love each other. We got together on Sonny's birthday. I didn't even know today was Sonny's birthday until I spoke to Albert and he told me. He was like, this is Big Boy's birthday. I was like, nah, I didn't know that, man. If I don't see it, or if I know your birthday, then I know it, but I didn't know it. So he was like, yeah, today's his birthday, and he was telling me, yeah, you going to the thing tomorrow? I said, yeah, we're gonna get together. He was like, well, I hope you guys have fun celebrating everything. And I told him when he do come up here, and I think he said 2 months, I want to, do a little interview with him too, and see what we can put on tape.
Because you're gonna be here for like when you get that shoulder replacement. I think he said like a week.
Yeah.
Whatever like that.
Yep. So I want to thank you again, and we love you. And this is our program, The Foundation, Our Story, Ancestral Tree.
Right. It's just, I just, because I've been like a witness for like, since I got baptized in 91.
It's been that long?
91 or 92. Yeah.
Wow, 91?
I think it was 94. It was in December
Wow.
94. So it's like over 20 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You introduced Albert to?
No, Pam. Pam was going like off and on. The witness was coming. I knew they used to come when we was on Pershine Avenue and what have you. Because I remember they would knock on the door or what have you. Mom said, "Let's do it, better do it."
Right.
So back then, I know they was like getting contributions like a nickel for the watchtower stuff. So it was just different times, and after he came knock on the door, I talked to him, and whatever they would come when he wasn't there because he was trying to get me to be a Muslim, and so I didn't want to go on. So he, like I said, he tried when we first got together, but he let his friends mess him up, what happened. So they said, "Why you going with your wife to the grocery store?" And he said, "No, I'm not going with you. Why you doing this with your wife? This and that." I said, "What?" Because we used to go to church. "Why you going to church?"
He was a follower.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about some of your hobbies and your interests that you used to really like to, indulge in.
Well, I like to draw. I went to like they used to have this art instruction school when I went. We just did a lot of drawing in there. And this is one of the pictures of pastel, that I had drew, and someone that had that frame for me. Also did crochet. I used to crochet headbands, crochet afghans, and right now I still have that there too. Crochet, that is something I need to, to do the patch quilt, something like the patch quilt, crocheting and do together. But then I also went off into sewing. So I used to sew outfits, 3-piece suits. Um, yeah, a lot of did the 3-piece suits. I used to, sew. And because I had got started sewing in school back then in school, they used for home economics. I think I made an apron. And that's how I got from sewing from there. So I got my own sewing machine, and like I said, I did a lot of sewing and what have you, different things. I crocheted different like dollies and stuff like that there. What have you. And also dance. I love to dance. I used to love to do the penguin. I used to do that, but I can't do that now. I have bad knees. So it was that. Yes, I love to dance or whatever. So I used to go out to clubs to dance and what have you. And it's just having fun. That's why I try to improve myself to go. To school, learn, make my own money because he used to say, "Well, here's $5 for you." I said, $5? What's supposed to do with $5? So then he gave me. He said, "Well, here's 10." So that's why I needed to go to school, learn for myself. Even though I had kids, but still, I needed to improve myself. So that's how I got up myself, learned to save my money and whatever. I always been saving money because my brother used to tease me. Said, "You would get a nickel, go to school. We spend our nickel, but you go and spend one cent and come back with change." My oldest brother, son, they used to always tease me. That brother Blondie, he said, "You are stingy." I said, "Well, at least I got some money." But it was funny. So that's a lot of things that I did, and some of the little things that I did too. I like do puzzles and put the puzzles together and put them in a frame. So it was just a lot of things that I did, like that when I was like basically just a housewife. I wasn't working. But since I was working, some of the things fell backwards, what have you. So I haven't really sewn anything, but I did have crocheted another scarf, one of the long skinny scarves. and what have you. So that's basically what I did. Oh, and I did stuff like with arts and craft with the kids and stuff
Mhm.
and what have you. Used to make things with the little pom poms and stuff like that, the popsicle stuff. So that's why I like to talk to kids about how to indulge their art and what have you. So I think one of my grandsons, Alquan, he's like to draw, and Bambi, she used to like to draw Bart Simpson and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So it was different things like that. The kids we did stuff.
Tell us
So
about some of the cars you used to drive. That Cougar, I remember that you had a black Cougar, right? A gray Cougar. Gray Cougar.
yeah, the cars I had, was able to get, cause I, like learned from my mom. She bought her a Nova, and she was paid cash for it. So that's one of the things I learned from my mom and what have you, to save your money to get what you want, what have you. Don't depend on anybody else. So that's why I used to have a Christmas club and a vacation club. And so to save the money, that's like when the year's up, you get the money. I don't go on vacation or nothing. I just put it in the bank, in my account. So that's how I used to save money. So, and I bought my first car was a Vega. So I bought that Vega. So after the Vega, I bought a Monte Carlo. Then after the Monte Carlo, I had a gray Topaz. Then I turned that, and then I had a blue Topaz. And then after the blue Topaz, I had the Cougar, the gray Cougar. It was a demo that got it. So after the Cougar, I went into a, a, a Sentra, a Nissan Sentra. After Nissan Sentra, got a Nissan truck exterior. So now I have my CRV. Love it.
Been rolling. Rolling for years.
Yeah. So because I know the husband, he wouldn't give you a car, so I just said, let me just buy my own car.
That's right.
So that's what I did.
That's right.
So it was a lot that I went through coming up. It's been, abused by my ex-husband. And my mom told me one time he did it, she said, my mama was always good for, I'm gonna get that nigga. So she said, well, you did this to my daughter. She said, well, if you had a daughter and then something happened to you, which it did happen, and his mother, he always complained to his mother because my mother threatened him. She threatened to shoot him. So he told his mom, he said, you're right, you don't supposed to be beating on no woman. So those was the things I learned, that I didn't want to get involved with anybody else that want to be abusive, because my kids saw that, and they didn't like that either. So I remember one of my oldest daughter, Candy, she took his clothes and threw them out the window.
That's right. Waiting till his head's down.
Huh? No, that was Artie. That was an Artie. He took Artie and threw his clothes out the window. But the ex-husband, she learned a lot from him because he was supposed to be a so-called Muslim. So she learned from that. And when she was a little girl, about 5, I guess, and she's to this day, she don't eat any pork. She always remembered that, because he used to take her to the mosque, but I would stay home because I didn't really like the mosque, because I just believed what things that he did wasn't what the Muslim believed. So
That's right. Got a question for you. You have 7 brothers?
I had 7 brothers.
7 brothers. Can you enlighten us on just growing up around? I'm gonna start from your oldest brother, John Jordan. Like a little, what was it like growing up around, Sonny, and I'll go down the list, Blondie. Any big memories that he's got?
Oh,
Were they funny characters? Were they?
are we still on the air?
Yes.
But Sonny, he was like, when I was coming up as a teenager, he was like more like uh, I was, he helped me to earn money for different things, and he would always pay me to wash his clothes or iron his clothes or stuff like that. He would always give me money. That helped out. When me buying clothes for like when I was in high school and stuff. Because I didn't really get stuff like that from my mom. So, back then my mom we didn't really have a close relationship, what have you. And so that's why I got a lot of money for that until, I became pregnant and when I was 17 and had my first daughter, then I had to do for her. So I, started working I think at a job paying $1.50 an hour.
Oh,
That's how I took care of my daughter. She needed milk and Pampers. But my brothers, they was there to help me with her and what have you. Like with Steve and I know my brother Steve was kind of jealous of me because I always took care of Steve and so he always thought that I was his mom and he kept calling me, Mom. I said, I'm not your mom. Because Candy was in pictures. Because Candy was there, but they got along, got a lot. They used to fuss and argue just like they was brother and sister. And so with my brother Blondie, we didn't really have too much. He was doing his own thing, even though we was like a year apart. We had the same father, Louis Barnes, and he was a good brother. He watched after us. He would let nobody bother me. And then it was my brother Willie Devils. Um, we was good. We like I said, we was very close, and we always talked. Then Mike came before Albert. We was like this. We was very close. Because when he went in the army, he would only write me. He would never write my mom, but he was always write me. We was always close when he got out of the army. We was still close. What happened? And did I did I spoke about Willie? Willie, we was okay. Then it came Martin. We called him Butch. We was close to, Mike was the closest that we were. We was like very close. And then it came Steve. Steve, we was close to Steve too, because Steve, like I took care of Steve when my mom was working. And we used to always take him outside, and everybody said, "That's your baby." I said, "No, that's not my baby." But then, fortunately, I did turn up pregnant. Like I said, with Candy, they was close, because he was like maybe 2, and she was the baby, and he just thought I was his mom because he just always take him out, push him in the carriage, and everywhere I went, I had to take her with me. I said, "Well, I got to take her." She said, "Take that." I had to take care of him. My mother was working, and what have you. So then it came Butch. No, but Kevin, Kevin, Kevin. We were close, because by then I had to moved out and got married, so I saw Kevin often enough. But I think him and my daughter are about the same age. They were just born in different months. So, like I said, they was close, because my mom had got pregnant going through the change, and I had my second daughter, Shalinda, and they're close because they was sevens. And then that's it.
I want to ask you this last question before we wrap it up. What legacy do you want to leave behind?
I want to leave behind that the daughters they save their money. They got to work hard to get what they want. You reach any goals that they want to reach. What have you? Because they learned from me to work, and know that's what I did. Work to get didn't depend on any man. Depend on yourself, and I learned that the hard way. So that's why I try to teach them, and they follow through. But they said, "Well, we learned it from you, mom." So that's what I like to hear. So they're trying to teach that to my grandkids, the same thing. So my oldest grandson, Taji, that's what he does. And Ibn, I'm still trying to get Ibn to, follow through, to do the same thing. So he got 2 children now. That's Emil and Amelia. So he knows the deal. So he appreciate me, and I appreciate. I love all my kids and brothers. every the family. That's why we try to stay close. We gotta do that.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you. We love you, and we thank you for sharing this knowledge, this history with us, so we can pass this on to the future generations. And you can look back, and if you remember anything else you want to put in, we can always do a part 2. But I definitely needed your story. I wanted to know about some of your brothers, your upbringing with your moms, your pops, your children, mostly your happy times. I definitely wanted your story about the sewing, and I didn't know about the dancing and the drawing. I didn't even know you drew. See, this is why I really wanted to put this together so we can learn, because I didn't know you drew, man. I never knew that.
The mind from drawing, when it was like we was getting a bruise, spinal bruise, that took away the drawing because it just took it away. So I try to draw stuff now, and it's not like it was before because I used to do, like do portraits and stuff, but I can't do that now because I love landscaping, like with the water, the trees and stuff. I used to like all that, the paint and stuff, but a lot of that was taken from me.
Right.
I'm a very calm, shy-like person, in some way. As now I get older, more, to think things through it, don't let things bother me, speak my mind, like my mom.
Right.
I think I like it because she spoke her mind. And a lot of times I used to be, afraid. I said, Mom, don't do that.
Right. Yeah, I found myself like that too. Just comes out.
Yeah, what comes up, come out. She said she get that from her father, because my mom, because she was born down south, so she used some of those words, like, you don't want me to say don't. She said, don't let them crackers speak to me like that, right?
That's right, and I'm still that way.
She used to be that way in the store. She'd call my people, she called my cracker, and I'd be so like embarrassed because I don't know, but that was my mom.
That's right.
Wow. So,
do you have any stories of grandma and grandpa? Because I've never met them. I don't even know them.
Well, I remember when we used to go down there every summer to my grandmother's house and what have you. So my grandfather, he used to like wrestling. So wrestling, he would be all like this here when they be fighting. He'd be doing
at the edge of the seat.
He'd be just moving back and forth and legs going up. And I would say, what's wrong with Grandpa? That was wrestling. So that's my mom loved wrestling. And my grandmother, she was always nice. So like a lot of times, I know she got at my mom. We was doing something, and I was telling her something. So my mom didn't move. She stayed up because they always down south. They be on the porch in those chairs, rocker chairs, all those swinging back and forth chairs.
Ghost stories.
And so then she said, I told her something. So my mom said, just go back in the house. So my grandmother said, didn't she call you? You go in there and see about that girl. So she zipped up out of the chair and came back there. So I said, why were you? She said, that's my mom. What she told me to do, I got to do it, even if I know if I'm grown or whatever.
Yeah.
So she said, because my grandmother don't play, because she look at you, and she was gone. So my mother picked that up from her. She do that to us too.
Yes.
She tell you something and you don't do it, she look at you, especially when she have company. You don't talk when grown folks talking. And she said, go in the room there. And you don't go.
Yep.
And she don't be dipping in our conversation.
That's right.
She's always telling. That's what my mom was telling. So that's what she learned that from her mom. So that's why I love my mom for that. But she said, I don't never care how grown you are. When your mom tell you something, you better do it.
That's right. That's right.
Well. Nice camera action.
Ooh, that big flash.